What's going on, everybody? RPG back with some more Predecessor content. In today's video, we're doing something a little different. We're doing a build and guide on steel here. See, we're in the practice realm. I got my brother with me. He watches my Predecessor content. He doesn't play Predecessor, so it's going to be good for him to be here so he can ask a couple questions on the build. So we'll just get right into it. The reason this build works on steel, if I pull up his menu here, you can look at his passive at the top, and it says, immobilizing a hero with an ability, you gain a shield. So any ability that immobilizes, like this right here, his Bull Rush, his Shield Bash, or his ultimate. Almost fell through the ground there, you guys saw that? The every ability that he does is a displacement or a stun. So he gets that overshield on every single ability. That's going to be pretty important in this build. So let's start out with the first item. We're going to go physical armor and max health. And remember, this is a full tank build. You're not going to do a lot of damage. You're just going to get in the way, stun the enemy, absorb damage, just tank for your team. So the first item we go with.
So why would you not want to do damage while you're tanking?
Well, the main purpose of this build is to just stay alive longer, and Steel's kit allows him to stun 3 different ways. So he's really good at initiating, and like say the enemy carry is on the back line, you could charge through the enemy team, get to the enemy carry, and just start stunning him and locking him down so they have no damage. You're basically getting in the shit first to absorb all the damage from the enemy team, but you're not going to do a lot of damage with your basic attacks and your abilities because you're building tank. The reason I go Fire Blossom first is because the lack of damage. And if you look at what Fire Blossom does, standing near enemies, they take damage based on your max health.
So all you have to do is stand near them.
Yep, it's like a little AoE fire aura based off of your max health.
Okay.
So the more health you have, the more damage you do just by standing near enemies. So that's going to be where most of your damage comes from. And if you read the little heat wave, the name of the ability, damage increased by your max health, and then damage is also increased to monsters and immobilized targets, and steel immobilizes targets. So it does even more damage while you're stunning them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's perfect on steel. And for this build, this is Steel's health regen tank build that I usually run. And it's based off of going against a well-balanced team with 2 physical damage, 2 magic damage, and a support. So, the next item, Tainted Guard. This is going to be our second form of physical armor. But it's also going to be another DPS boost because we don't do damage with our basic attacks and our abilities with this build. If you read the tooltip on this one, it reduces the enemy's healing done. So if they have anyone on their team who heals, they're taking 40% less heal when they have this, when they have this item, what's it called, the Blighted Thorns put on them. If they hit you with a basic attack, it applies a bleed to them. It's like a Thorns damage from like Diablo, where when enemies hit you, they lose health.
Yeah.
Right, so with the Fire Blossom, doing the AoE damage based on your max health just by standing next to them, then Tainted Guard, you get hit with basics, they take more damage. So these are your 2 damage sources.
Okay.
But they're also your physical armor, your physical armor pieces. So you get physical armor, health, and these are your damage dealers.
Got it.
So now that the physical armor is out of the way, this is the main item for this steel health regen tank build. Void Helm. This is the first one we're going to do that's a magical armor item. And if you look at the bottom, it says Anema, heal 10% more from all sources. Always good, right? 10% more healing.
Yeah.
Now you got Abyssal Grasp. And what that does, it says on immobilizing a hero, heal 10% of your max health over 4 seconds.
Oh, wow, that's really good.
Especially on steel, since all 3 of his abilities, his charge, his shield bash, and his ult, what do? They immobilize heroes.
Yeah.
So you're healing.
That makes sense.
Every single ability that you do, you're healing on it. And remember, Steel's passive. Immobilizing a hero grants you an overshield.
Mm-hmm.
So, every time I stun, charge, displace, ultimate, anybody, I'm getting an overshield based off my max health, which is protecting my health bar, and my health is regenning from Void Helm.
Okay.
So every time I stun someone, immobilize them, basically do anything to them, I'm getting an overshield and my health is regenerating. It's pretty ridiculous. So you can stay alive for a long time here. Wait, what's going on? Oh, it went to assassin items, that's why. Okay. Magical armor. So for the next magical armor piece, it really depends on who you're going up against. If you're going against their mid laner who does a lot of damage, like say from like Iggy and Scorch turrets, or some damage over time like Morigesh, you would go Crystalline Cuirass, because the more magic damage you take, the higher your magic armor goes, and the faster you run, which is pretty sick. But if you're going up against a magic dealer who just does big burst damage and doesn't do like dot damage or damage over time, I go with Tainted Bastion.
Ready to strike.
Okay.
Tainted Bastion is kind of the magical version of Tainted Guard. They both add Blight to the enemy. Tainted Guard does it on basic attacks that reduce enemy healing. Tainted Bastion does it on magic damage that will reduce enemy healing.
Okay.
But if you have Tainted Bastion on, if you look at Colossus on the bottom, it says mitigate 5% of damage taken. All damage, which is crazy. And it's doubled against blighted targets. So that's 10% damage mitigation if an enemy target has Blight. And magical damage on Tainted Bastion will give them Blight. Physical,
causes Blight.
And then basic attacks from Tainted Guard will also give them Blight. So there's really no way the enemy's not going to have Blight on them with this build. So that means they're always taking less healing, and you always have 10% damage mitigation, which is nuts.
Oh, wow.
It's so good. This would be the standard right here. Fire Blossom into Tainted Guard for your physical and your DPS. Because you're going to stay alive so long that these two items alone are going to do pretty good damage. And then you got your Void Helm for your healing and your sustain. And your Tainted Bastion for your secondary magical armor item that gives you 10% mitigation. So from here, this is where it gets fun. You could pick Raiment of Renewal is what I usually go with if I'm just going straight up tank. And look at the health on this thing, 600 health. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow, yeah.
100% health regen boost. Regenerate 10% of damage taken over 6 seconds, so it's another source of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Synthesis there that just says gain 0.5% max health regen. So if you're going full health regen build, this is it. So we're looking at it right here. Fire Blossom and Tainted Guard for your physical armor and your main source of damage. Void Helm and Tainted Bastion for your magical armor and your health regen and your damage mitigation. And then Raiment of Renewal just to give you a huge health pool and increase all of your health regen.
Yeah, so that's perfect for a tank, because you're just regenerating health all over the place.
Well,
and you're almost impossible to kill.
It's perfect for a tank, but it just fits better on Steel because of all the stuns that he does with his passive. And every item that I pick here increases your health, and that increases the shield from his passive. More health increases the damage from Fire Blossom. You know what I mean? It all goes hand in hand.
So this build would work best with just Steel? Like, it wouldn't work very good with another character?
It works best on Steel because every single one of his moves is a stun.
Yeah.
But you could also use it on a tank, like, let's say, Richter, for example, because Richter's hook, when he pulls people in, that's a displacement or an immobilizer.
Yeah.
His ult, the skewer, is an immobilizer, so he's got two. It works on Richter, just not as well, because Steel has more stuns. And Steel's passive gives him an overshield when he stuns.
Yeah.
So it'll still work on other tanks, just not as well.
Okay.
Don't use this, I'm going to repeat this, do not use this on a tank that has no stun. It is a complete waste.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So Void Helm, right here, worthless on tanks without stuns. Makes no sense. All right.
Yeah.
So, what we didn't go over was the crest. So in the beginning, you're picking the Goliath crest, the default tank crest, and you're gonna go near war boots because you get 180 health, 8 physical armor, 8 magical armor. It's only a little bit, but it helps out. And when you activate it, you gain 50% decaying movement speed, so you're running around a little quicker. You can use that to run people down, or you can use it to escape and kite enemies when you're trying to get away. And when you activate it, you regenerate 1.5% of your max health every second for 5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is another health regen. And if you combine that with Raiment of Renewal, even more health regen. You combine that with this one right here. No, not this one. Where to go? Void Helm. Heal 10% more from all sources. So that increases the heal from this. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it all just stacks.
They all play a part. They all like go hand in hand. So here we go. We're gonna go to the lane here. I'm gonna try to find a way to take some damage. I don't think Steel's going to swing back here. He's just a target dummy. As you can see here, your punches don't really do a lot of damage. But if you stand next to him, I'm doing 29 damage to a level 18 Steel just by standing next to him every second.
Just by standing there, yeah.
So let's test it out on some jungle minions here. Like, I'm going to let him hit me, and you guys can see the damage from the Thorns and the Fire Blossom. Let's see what it does to red buff. So you can see as he hits me, he's taking 57, 12, 57, 23. Look at his health just going down.
Wow, and you don't even have to swing at him.
Yeah, this is your damage source. And the reason it works so well with him is because of all the healing and all the stuns, and you can just stay alive forever.
Yeah.
See what we can. Let's see if it works on. See if we can take some damage from Fangtooth. We're so tanky. And our health regen's so quick, we barely take any damage. You know what? Let's just kill him.
Wow.
Yeah, there's maybe I'll go take some tower damage, so I could show you guys how quick the health regen is on this guy. But it's kind of hard to do it because there's no real enemies in the practice map. It's just minions. So all you're gonna really get is the health regen from everything except Void Helm, really.
Okay.
Leave them alive. Just go take some tower damage. So tanky. Look at this.
Wow.
Talk about tower diving for your team. My goodness.
An enemy tower is under attack.
Now this is just my base health regen, without even stunning enemies.
Towers destroyed.
Anything like that. Let's stun Steel, and you'll see the overshield and the health regen kick in. Displace him.
Okay.
Health regen kicking in. So now if I use near war boots, start stunning, start hitting, I'm gonna fill up my health bar pretty quickly.
Oh wow.
Then you see that I have a little overshield too. It's just a way to sustain, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what you want to do with a tank.
And now my health is pretty much full. So the idea of this build, you obviously want to dive in, initiate fights, take damage, and you want to stay alive as long as you can with your health regen and your near war boots, so your Fire Blossom and your Tainted Guard can do big damage for you.
Okay.
And normally in a team fight, if the enemy team knows what they're doing, they're not really going to go for the tank. They're going to try to ignore you and kill the damage dealers. But if you're staying alive forever, they don't realize that your Tainted Guard and your Fire Blossom are the damage dealers. And they start losing a huge amount of health, and then you win the team fight.
Okay.
Enemy inhibitor is under.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You said you would choose different options depending on who the enemy team is, like which characters they're using. Now, does that also apply depending on who's on your team?
No. Nope.
No, so you would always go the same build no matter who's on your team?
Yeah, whoever's on my team doesn't change what I'm doing, because they're not doing damage to me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. let's just say the enemy team is all physical. We can undo all this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the enemy team is all physical, right? I'm still going to go Fire Blossom Tainted Guard. And I'm still going to go Void Helm. Even though it has magical armor. But because it heals me over every single stun that I do, I'm still going to go that. But then, if they really are all physical, I'm just going to grab another physical armor item. And let's just say they have really high attack speed, like Grux, Chimera, those kind of guys. I'm throwing Frost Guard on, because that slows down their attack speed.
Okay.
And then I'd go right back into Rainment. So I would just swap out one item. I would drop the Tainted Bastion for another physical armor item.
Okay.
Depending on what the enemy team is running. Like, if they have a lot of melee guys that do a lot of quick basic attacks, Frost Guard goes on because it slows those down.
Mm-hmm.
If not, if they have like a couple carries, like 2 rangers, like a Sparrow and a Murdoch, I'm going Warden's Faith. Because that one gives you huge physical armor, and you take 15% less damage from critical strikes, and their being near enemies reduces their physical power. So that's almost like your anti-carry tank item.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what it would look like if I was going up against the full physical armor team. I would still have Void Helm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for the steel tank health regen build. This is mainly coming from the jungle perspective, because that's the role that I play. You can use this in solo lane. It's actually really good in solo lane as steel. Do not use this as support steel. It's just not going to work. As support, you know, you get way less gold, and you need to be running support items to help your carry. Do not do this. You're just trolling if you do this. So, again, run this in the jungle. Run this in solo lane. Get your health regen on. Actually, while I'm talking about it, I'm going to put the main build item back in there so we can see what it is. It's just a well-balanced physical armor, magical armor, health regen build, and it does pretty good damage too. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
An enemy inhibitor.